You could be doing everything right, reading the books, following the routines, trying to stay calm in a chaotic world. But if these 7 habits are still living inside you, you're silently ruining your peace, your focus, and your power. These aren't just bad behaviors. They're anti-stoic. They weaken your mind. They make you reactive, dependent, lost. And if you're serious about mastering yourself, you need to cut them out today. Before we begin, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to a life of strength, discipline, and clarity. Because if you're here, you're not like most people. You're here to rise. Let's begin. 7 anti-stoic habits to remove from your life right now. Habit number 1, reacting. Instead of responding. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. Let's start with a simple truth. Life will test you. It won't ask for permission. It won't wait until you're ready. It will throw curveballs, people, problems, and pain without warning. But what matters more than what happens is how you handle it. In today's world, most people are conditioned to react. Someone insults them. They fire back. They face inconvenience. They rage. They're disappointed. They spiral. Reactions are emotional. They're impulsive. They're fast. And most of all, they're unconscious. You don't think. You don't reflect. You just explode, withdraw, lash out, or self-destruct. But here's the thing. When you react, you hand over your power. The person who triggered you is now in control. The event that upset you is now steering your ship. And without even realizing it, you've become a puppet to your circumstances. What does Stoicism say? The Stoics, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius understood something critical. Between what happens and what you do about it, there is a space, and in that space there is your freedom. Epictetus taught that our control lies only in our own actions, not in external events. You can't control if someone cuts you off in traffic, but you can control whether you curse them for an hour or simply move on. You can't control if a coworker gossips about you, but you can control whether you stoop to their level or stand above it. Stoicism teaches us to move from being emotionally reactive to rationally responsive. The cost of reacting. Let's break this down into real consequences. When you react instead of respond, here's what tends to happen. 1. You say things you regret. In the heat of anger, words become weapons, and once they're spoken, you can't pull them back. How many relationships, friendships, or jobs have been ruined over a 10-second reaction? 2. You escalate situations unnecessarily. A small disagreement turns into a screaming match. A minor slight becomes a grudge. Why? Because reaction inflames what could have been resolved peacefully. 3. You damage your self-image. Reactivity makes you look weak, impulsive, and out of control. And even worse, you know it. You feel ashamed after overreacting. You lose trust in your own emotional discipline. 4. You lose clarity. Reaction clouds the mind. You act before you think. And once the dust settles, you're left with confusion, regret, or unnecessary drama. The power of the pause. A Stoic response is calm, controlled, intentional. So what's the key difference? Pause. That single second, that breath, that tiny window between stimulus and response. That's where all your power lives. You don't have to respond immediately. You don't have to reply to that text in anger. You don't have to match someone's energy just because they're chaotic. You pause. And in that pause, you reflect. Is this within my control? Will this matter tomorrow? What would the wiser version of me do? That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Practical ways to train your response muscle. Developing the ability to respond instead of react is a skill, one you must train daily. Here are practical ways to do just that. 3. You practice morning reflection. Start each day by mentally preparing yourself for challenges. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by reminding himself, you will meet people today who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest. Why? Because if you expect adversity, you're not shocked by it. You're ready. 2. Use the 5-second rule. When you feel a strong emotional charge, anger, frustration, annoyance, mentally count 5, 4, 3, 2. In that time, breathe. Ask yourself if this reaction is worth it. Most of the time, it isn't. 3. Journaling. After a heated situation, write down, what triggered me? How did I react? How could I have responded better? This self-awareness will rewire your patterns over time. You'll catch yourself sooner. You'll improve. 4. Observe. Don't absorb. Just because someone is angry doesn't mean you need to be. Their mood isn't your mood. Their chaos isn't your chaos. Imagine yourself as a clear lake. Someone can throw a rock, but the ripples don't last unless you keep reacting. 5. Detach from the ego. Reactivity is often the ego screaming for dominance. I need to win. I won't let them disrespect me. I have to prove something. But Stoics know, nothing truly noble comes from ego. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. Your silence, your restraint, your unshakable composure, that is real strength. Final reflection. Every time you choose to respond instead of react, you build a stronger inner fortress. You don't become a robot. You become someone who governs their emotions, rather than being governed by them. The world doesn't need more reactors. It needs more thinkers, more reflectors, more individuals who can face the storms of life with stillness, strategy, and self-respect. So remember this. Reaction is emotion-led. Response is value-led. Reaction is fast. Response is wise. Reaction is weak. Response is powerful. You don't control what life throws at you, but you always control how you show up in return. Be deliberate. Be calm. Be stoic. Habit nut 2. Chasing external validation. Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions. Marcus Aurelius. Let's be brutally honest for a second. We crave it. The praise, the likes, the applause, the attention, the you did great, the you're amazing, the I'm proud of you. It feels good, doesn't it? But here's the trap. The more you rely on external validation, the more you lose touch with your inner compass. And for the Stoics, there's no greater loss than that. What is external validation? External validation is the emotional fuel you get from other people's approval. When someone compliments your appearance, you feel good. When your boss recognizes your work, you feel worthy. When your social media post goes viral, you feel important. But the flip side is brutal. When no one notices your effort, you feel invisible. When you're criticized, you collapse. When you're not affirmed, you feel like you're not enough. And just like that, you're no longer living your life. You're performing for an audience, hoping for a round of applause. This is the exact opposite of Stoic strength. Why the Stoics rejected approval-seeking. The ancient Stoics weren't monks hiding from society. They were warriors of the inner world, philosophers, emperors, teachers, leaders. They dealt with public scrutiny, pressure, expectations, and they understood the danger of letting your self-worth be determined by the outside world. Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful man on earth during his time, wrote this to himself in Meditations. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people but care more about their opinion than our own. Think about that. We live inside our own heads 24/7, yet we hand our happiness over to the judgment of someone who might think about us for 5 seconds and move on. The trap of modern validation. In the modern age, this problem is amplified. You post something on Instagram, only 15 likes, you feel small. You tell someone your idea and they laugh, you shut down. You don't get the promotion. You question your entire worth. Here's what you must understand. External validation is addictive, but it's unstable. One day you're praised, the next you're forgotten. One crowd cheers, another boos. Chasing validation makes you a slave to trends, opinions, and moods you can't control. And Stoicism is all about regaining control of your mind, your values, your life. The Stoic alternative. Internal validation. So what's the Stoic answer? It's simple, but not easy. Measure yourself by your own values, not others' opinions. Seneca said, "The approval of others can only give you confidence if you lack it yourself." The Stoic doesn't ask, "Do they like me?" They ask, "Did I act with virtue? Did I do my best? Did I live in alignment with reason?" Internal validation comes from keeping your word, even when no one notices. Showing up every day with effort and integrity. Making choices based on your principles, not popularity. You become your own judge, your own audience, your own approval system. How to break the habit of chasing validation. Ready to take your power back? Here are concrete steps to break free from this toxic pattern. 1. Detach praise from identity. When someone compliments you, appreciate it, but don't need it. Say, "Thank you," then move on. Their opinion is just that, theirs. It does not define you. If you let praise inflate you, criticism will destroy you. A Stoic remains steady, unshaken by either. 2. Practice voluntary disconnection. Take intentional breaks from things that fuel external validation. Social media, attention-seeking conversation, fishing for compliments, farsham motive comsum. During that time, do meaningful work without an audience. Journal, train, create, help someone privately. The goal? Rewire your brain to appreciate effort without applause. 3. Do one invisible act of integrity. Daily, every day, do something purely because it's right with zero expectation of being seen or rewarded. Pick up trash in a public place. Compliment someone who needs it. Forgive someone silently. This is Stoic virtue in action, doing good for its own sake. Over time, this habit builds internal confidence. You start to love yourself for what you do, not for how others react to it. 4. Audit your influences. Unfollow people who trigger comparison. Step back from relationships built on performance and approval. Replace them with mentors, books, or friends who value depth over display, who challenge you to live with integrity, not popularity. 5. Daily affirmation. I approve of myself. Yes, it sounds simple, maybe even cheesy, but say it every morning. I approve of myself. I live by my principles. I do not need outside applause to validate my worth. Eventually, your brain rewires, because what you repeat, you believe. Final reflection. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless or never enjoying praise. It's about not needing it. It's about building an inner foundation so strong that whether the world loves you, ignores you, or hates you, you stand tall. Remember, you are not a product. You are not a performance. You are a person of reason, of principle, of virtue. Live for what is right, not for what is liked. And as Marcus Aurelius put it best, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. So stop asking the world, am I enough? Start showing up every day and answer that question yourself. That's Stoicism. That's power. That's freedom. Habit none 3. Overthinking the future or regretting the past. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. What if you had said yes? What if you had tried harder? What if things go wrong tomorrow? What if you fail? These thoughts run on loop in your head. They steal your sleep, your focus, your peace. You're either haunted by the past or terrified of the future. And here's the real tragedy. You're not even living the present. This is one of the most widespread anti-Stoic habits of modern life. Overthinking the past or future at the cost of the only time that's real, right now. Why do we do this? We overthink because our minds crave certainty. We regret because we believe the past could have been different. We worry because we think the future must go exactly as planned. But the Stoics saw through this illusion. They knew from the past is unreachable. The future is unpredictable. The present is the only field of power. Living in the past or future is like trying to fight a shadow. You lose energy but gain nothing. What the Stoics taught about time. Let's start with Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of history's most profound Stoics. He wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." Think about that. You already have what it takes right now to face whatever tomorrow brings. Worrying about the future doesn't prepare you, it paralyzes you. Seneca added, "He suffers more than necessary. Who suffers before it is necessary?" You're carrying burdens that don't even exist. You're bleeding from wounds that haven't happened. And when it comes to regret, Stoics are just as clear. You cannot change what happened, but you can transform what it means. What matters is how you respond today, not how you failed yesterday. Regret versus responsibility. Stoicism does not mean pretending your mistakes didn't happen. It means using them intelligently. You don't say, "I didn't mess up." You say, "Yes, I did, and now I'll use it to grow." Did you betray a friend? Learn loyalty. Did you waste years? Learn urgency. Did you fail? Learn resilience. The past is a teacher, not a prison. But overthinking it turns lessons into chains. The cost of time travel. In your head. Here's what happens when you live outside the present. 1. You miss real life. You're physically here, but mentally lost. You don't notice the people around you. You don't enjoy the meal in front of you. You don't hear what someone just said. 2. You drain your emotional energy. Regret leads to shame. Worry leads to anxiety. Both steal your power to take action today. 3. You become reactive, not proactive. You're always in defense mode, bracing for impact, avoiding guilt, instead of calmly responding to what's actually happening. 4. You delay growth. Growth only happens in the now. You can't train in the past or succeed in the future. All transformation begins with the present moment. The Stoic skill, presence. Presence is not just some spiritual buzzword, it's Stoic survival. It means choosing to plant yourself fully in the current moment, because that's the only place where you can think clearly, act rationally, and live virtuously. To the Stoics, the present is sacred. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Seneca. How to break the habit of overthinking time. Here's how to start living like a true Stoic rooted in the now, free from time's illusions. 1. Use the circle of time filter. Whenever you're overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this past? Is this future? Is this present? If it's not something you can act on right now, set it down. Your power only exists in the last circle, the present. 2. Write down regrets, then rewrite them as lesson that Take a regret that haunts you. Example, I wasted my 20s. Now rewrite it. I now value time like gold. My past has sharpened my urgency. This isn't denial, it's redirection. You're taking emotional energy and focusing it forward. 3. Practice single-task stoicism. Do one thing at a time, fully, no multitasking. If you're reading, just read. If you're eating, just eat. If you're with someone, be with them. This is how you train your mind to live in the now. It builds mental discipline. It lowers anxiety. It makes life richer. 4. Morning grounding and evening reflection. Every morning, ask, what is in my control today? Focus only on that, nothing else. Every evening, review your actions. Did you stay present? Did you let fear steal your focus? Without judgment, learn and let it go. This habit builds presence through structure. 5. Train the letting go muscle. Visualize your regrets and fears as physical weights. Now imagine setting them down on the ground. Literally say, this is not mine to carry right now. This mental ritual strengthens your ability to release what's not helpful. Final reflection. Here's the core Stoic truth. The past cannot be fixed. The future cannot be guaranteed. The present is all you ever truly own. So stop trying to live in two timelines at once. Life is not a rehearsal, it's happening now. Let go of the ghosts behind you. Stop staring into the fog ahead. Stand firm, grounded in the moment. Because here, in this breath, in this choice, is where your power lives. And when you learn to live here fully, you don't need to fear the past. You don't need to control the future. You just need to show up, clear, calm, and composed. That is the Stoic way. Habit number 4, complaining and blaming others. Don't blame others for your misfortunes. The fault lies within. Epictetus. We live in an age of outrage. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You curse them out. Your boss doesn't recognize your work. You rant about how unfair life is. Your plans fall apart. You blame your family, your partner, the economy, the algorithm. But here's the hard truth, the Stoics would remind you. Every time you complain or blame, you give your power away. You surrender your peace to people and events outside your control. And Stoicism is the art of taking that power back. The illusion behind complaints. At first, complaining feels good. It's a release. You get sympathy. You feel justified. Maybe someone agrees with you. Maybe you get to feel like a victim, and that feels strangely comfortable. But here's the problem. Complaining doesn't solve anything. It just keeps your mind stuck in negativity. Imagine you're holding a wound, and instead of cleaning it, you just point to it and say, look how bad it is. Look what they did to me. The wound doesn't heal, it festers. That's what blame does. It prevents growth, locks you into pain, and convinces you that your happiness is someone else's responsibility. The Stoics would call that madness. Why the Stoics rejected blame? The Stoics believed the most important power we have is our ability to choose how we respond. We cannot control the external world, not other people, not circumstances, not even our own bodies, but we can always control our thoughts, our reaction, our principle, our choices, our choices, our choices diant of Paul. And when we blame others, we abandon that control. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly. When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. He's not saying don't get angry ever. He's saying start with yourself. If you want to live free, stop outsourcing your emotional state. What complaining reveals? Every complaint is a mirror. It shows you what you haven't accepted. They're so fake. You crave honesty but don't always live it. No one supports me. Remo, you may not be supporting yourself. Life is unfair. You haven't accepted that fairness isn't guaranteed. Stoicism teaches us to observe the emotion beneath the words. Instead of venting it blindly, ask, what is this complaint trying to teach me about myself? This transforms a bad habit into an opportunity for growth. The warrior mindset versus the victim mindset. Let's break this down. The victim mindset says, why does this always happen to me? They're ruining my life. I can't be happy until this changes. The Stoic warrior mindset says, what can I control in this situation? What's this challenge teaching me? How can I turn this into strength? Big difference. The victim believes life is done to them. The Stoic believes life is something they respond to with reason. How to break the habit of complaining and blaming. Here's how to uproot this habit and replace it with Stoic power. 1. Use the control filter. Every time you're upset, ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, stop blaming. If the answer is yes, take action instead of complaining. Either way, you move forward. 2. Turn every complaint into a responsibility statement. Every time you catch yourself saying, they're so annoying, change it to, I'm responsible for how I let people affect me. My job sucks. I choose how I show up, or whether I stay. No one understands me. I can learn to express myself more clearly or accept that not everyone will. This rewires your brain from helplessness to agency. 3. Start a no complaints challenge. Try this. No complaints for 7 days. No blaming, no excuses, no venting, unless it's productive. Every time you slip, start again from day 1. This is not about being silent. It's about retraining your response mechanism. It builds self-awareness like nothing else. 4. Replace complaints with constructive action. Don't like your situation? Good. Ask, what can I improve? What can I learn? What's within my reach right now? Then move. Take one action, no matter how small. Motion defeats stagnation. 5. End the day with a responsibility. Reflection ability. At night, ask, where did I blame others today? Where could I have taken more ownership? No judgment, just observation. This Stoic evening practice will make you sharper, calmer, and more in control, day by day. A Stoic reframe. Blame becomes fuel. Here's the most powerful shift of all. Instead of blaming others for your pain, thank them for revealing your weakness. Someone insulted you? Good. You found your ego. Someone disappointed you? Good. You found your expectations. Something broke your routine? Good. You found your dependency. Every trigger is a teacher. Every pain is an invitation to build virtue. This is how Stoics become unshakable, not by avoiding discomfort, but by turning every challenge into strength. Final reflection. Complaining is easy. Blaming is natural. But neither will ever give you peace. Because peace isn't found in a perfect world. It's found in a disciplined mind. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Epictetus. So the next time you're tempted to complain, stop. Ask, is this within my control? Can I respond with virtue? Can I grow from this? That's the moment your life begins to change. You don't need the world to get easier. You need to get stronger. And Stoicism is the path to that strength. Habit none 5. Seeking comfort over discipline. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. Look around. We live in the most comfortable era in human history. Food is delivered to your door with a tap. You can scroll through 1,000 lives instead of fixing your own. You can binge dopamine all night and call it rest. The modern world makes it easy to stay comfortable. But here's the brutal truth. Comfort is the slowest poison. It doesn't kill you instantly. It kills your potential. And if you're not careful, the desire to feel good right now will rob you of everything good long term. That's why the Stoics warned us. What feels good in the moment often weakens you in the end. The trap of comfort. Comfort feels innocent. You tell yourself, I deserve a break. Just 5 more minutes. I'll start tomorrow. But behind those thoughts is one core belief. Avoid discomfort at all costs. And that's the habit that will ruin you. Because here's what happens when you build a life around comfort. 1. You lose mental sharpness. 2. You start negotiating with your goals. 3. You avoid challenges instead of rising to them. 4. You confuse relaxation with meaning. The Stoics weren't against rest. They were against passivity. And comfort, unchecked, breeds passive living. A slow slide into mediocrity. Discipline, the Stoic superpower. If comfort is the enemy, discipline is the weapon. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. The freedom to act, even when it's hard. The freedom to wake up early because you choose to. The freedom to resist a temptation that once controlled you. Epictetus, a former slave who became a Stoic master, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That means, master your mind, master your impulses, master your habits. And that only happens when you embrace discomfort. The comforts that slowly kill potential. Let's call them out. 1. The snooze button. Every time you hit snooze, you train your brain to delay discomfort. But discipline begins the moment you wake up. Get up when you say you will. That's integrity in action. 2. Junk food and dopamine hits. Your brain loves sugar, screens, scrolling, because they're effortless. But every time you indulge mindlessly, you reinforce the habit of chasing pleasure over purpose. The Stoics taught temperance, not deprivation, but self-control. 3. Avoiding difficult conversations or tasks. Growth hides behind friction. If you always choose what's easy, you'll never build the muscle needed to change your life. Discipline says, do the hard thing, especially when you don't feel like it. 4. Escaping into entertainment. TV, TikTok, games, gossip. It's not evil, but is it edifying? The Stoics would ask, what are you feeding your mind? Choose depth over distraction. Stoic tools to break the comfort habit. Here's how to fight back with practical daily moves. 1. Voluntary discomfort. Ascesis. Seneca practiced fasting. Epictetus walked barefoot in the cold. Why? To train the mind not to fear discomfort. You can do this too. Take cold showers. Skip a meal once a week. Walk instead of drive. Sleep on the floor occasionally. These aren't punishments. They're tests. And every time you pass one, your willpower gets stronger. 2. Daily discipline. Rituals. Choose 3 non-negotiables each day. Example. Wake up at 6 a.m. 30 minutes of reading or journaling. 1 task you've been avoiding. Keep these simple but sacred. You don't need motivation. You need consistency. 3. Use pain as fuel. Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Next time something's hard, ask, what part of me is being trained right now? Is it patience, courage, focus? Reframe every struggle as mental resistance training. 4. Discipline the inner dialogue. You are always talking to yourself. Every time you say, I can't, it's too hard, I'll do it later, you train weakness. Replace that voice with, I choose discipline. This is where I grow. I do what needs to be done. This is Stoic self-command. 5. Nightly accountability. Before bed, reflect. Where did I choose comfort over action? What did I delay, avoid, or escape today? What would the best version of me have done? Don't shame yourself. Just learn. Then aim to win tomorrow's battles. Discipline, inner freedom. The world tells you, do what feels good. The Stoics say, do what's right, even when it hurts. Because comfort might feel good now, but it costs you. Confidence, vertibund. Progress, clarity, clarity. Self-respective, no my. Discipline gives you those things back. So trade the short-term high for the long-term rise. Final reflection. Your life won't change when things get easier. Your life will change when you get stronger. And strength is not found in the soft couch of comfort. It's built in the cold trenches of discipline. So start today. Wake up when you say you will. Say no to what doesn't serve your goals. Choose growth over ease, because comfort will kill the warrior in you. And the Stoic inside you is not here to be cozy. He's here to be free. Habit none 6. Reacting emotionally to everything. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Marcus Aurelius. We've all been there. Someone says something disrespectful, and you snap. You read one bad message and it ruins your whole day. You get disappointed once, and suddenly life feels pointless. It feels normal, even justified, to react emotionally. After all, you're human, right? Yes. But reacting blindly to every emotion is the fastest way to lose your peace, your power, and your freedom. And for the Stoics, emotional reactivity is not weakness because feelings are bad. It's weakness because it gives others control over you. Emotion versus reactivity. The Stoics were not emotionless robots. They felt grief, anger, joy, and fear like all of us. But here's the key. They didn't let emotions control their actions. There's a difference between feeling anger and lashing out, feeling fear and becoming paralyzed, feeling sadness and drowning in self-pity. The Stoic doesn't deny emotions. He observes them. He understands them. And then he decides, rationally, how to respond. This is what separates a slave to emotion from a master of self. The cost of emotional reactivity. When you're reactive, you say things you regret. You make decisions you can't undo. You let small events control your inner world. You become like a leaf in the wind, tossed around by every opinion, rejection, or setback. You can't build peace if you're at war with your own feelings. You can't build discipline if every impulse becomes an action. And you can't lead your life if your emotions lead you. The Stoics knew this. That's why they trained themselves to pause, to choose their response, not be dragged by it. The Stoic approach to emotion. The Stoics didn't suppress emotions. They processed them through 3 principles. 1. Perception is everything. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them. Epictetus. It's not the event, it's the meaning you give it. Your flight got delayed. Inconvenient, not a tragedy. Someone insulted you. Just words, not truth. You lost something. Painful, but temporary. You can't control events. You can only control how you frame them. 2. Emotions are signals, not commands. Anger says, a boundary was crossed. Fear says, there's risk ahead. Sadness says, you lost something you valued. Useful information. But emotion is a messenger, not a master. You can feel it, then choose how to act wisely, not impulsively. 3. You have time. Use it. The Stoics believed in the power of the pause. Before you respond, breathe. Before you decide, reflect. Before you speak, observe. That pause between emotion and action, that's where your freedom lives. Common emotional triggers and Stoic responses. Let's look at what usually triggers us and what a Stoic mindset might say in response. 1. Someone insults you online. Default reaction, how dare they? I'll destroy them in the comments. Stoic response. If their words are true, I'll improve. If they're false, they're not about me. Why let someone's ignorance disturb your inner peace? 2. You get rejected. Job, relationship, opportunity. Default reaction, I'm worthless. I'll never be good enough. Stoic response. Rejection is protection. What's for me won't miss me. You weren't denied, you were redirected. 3. You feel jealous or envious of someone else's success. Default reaction. They don't deserve that. I hate them. Stoic response. Their success does not subtract from mine. I'll use it as inspiration. A real Stoic doesn't compete with others. He competes with who he was yesterday. 4. Something doesn't go your way? Default reaction. Why me? Life's unfair. Stoic response. Fate is beyond me, but how I respond, that's my domain. What happens is not up to you. What it means is how to break the habit of emotional reactivity. 1. Name the emotion. The moment you feel triggered, ask, what am I feeling right now? Is it anger, shame, fear, pride? Naming it creates distance. It stops the emotional hijack and brings your rational mind online. 2. Pause before you react. Build this habit. Where metal the spoke. Get bad news? Pause. Get insulted? Pause. Feel rejected? Pause. Even a 3-second delay can change your entire reaction. This is where Stoic mastery begins, in the space between stimulus and response. 3. Journal your trigger. At night, reflect. What made me emotionally react today? Was the reaction useful or harmful? What could I have done differently? Over time, this builds emotional intelligence and sharpens your mental armor. 4. Practice negative visualization. The Stoics used a technique called premeditatio malorum, imagining worst-case scenarios in advance. This prepares you emotionally. You expect difficulties, so they don't shock you. You anticipate loss, so you appreciate more. You accept discomfort, so you're not ruled by fear. 5. Detach from the outcome. Much of our emotional chaos comes from obsession with results. What if they don't like me? What if I fail? What if I don't get what I want? Let go. Do your duty. Control what you can. Accept the rest with calm. That is the Stoic way. Final reflection. Emotions are part of life, but emotional slavery is a choice. And every time you react impulsively, you let the outside world invade your inner temple. The Stoics didn't aim to be cold. They aimed to be calm in the storm, clear when others are chaotic, rooted when others are triggered. So next time you feel an emotional wave rising, don't drown in it. Stand still, observe, choose your response. Because freedom is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. Habit none 7. Living without purpose or principle. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca. This one hurts the most. Because it's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's quiet, gradual, invisible. It's the silent killer of potential. Drifting through life without direction, without principles, and without purpose. The modern epidemic of aimlessness. You wake up, you scroll, you eat, you work, you come home, you scroll again, you sleep, repeat. No goals, no vision, no deep reason why you're doing what you're doing. You're not in crisis, you're not miserable, but you're not really alive either. This is what the Stoics feared most, a life wasted in comfort, distraction, and reactive living. A life where you're always busy, but never becoming. The Stoic view, life must be lived deliberately. To the Stoics, the biggest tragedy wasn't death. It was to live without purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That's not fear-mongering, it's urgency. You don't have time to drift. You were given breath, reason, and the capacity to grow. To waste that? That's the ultimate failure in Stoic thought. What a life without purpose looks like. Let's call it out. You don't know what you stand for. You chase short-term pleasures because there's no long-term mission. You feel anxious or unfulfilled, but don't know why. You copy others' paths because you never defined your own. And worst of all, you become easy to manipulate. Without purpose, you say yes to everything and stand for nothing. Without principles, you follow feelings, not truth. Principles over preferences, over preferences. Most people live based on how they feel today. I'll work if I feel motivated. I'll be kind if they're nice to me. I'll commit when it's convenient. That's preference. The Stoic lives by principle. I do what's right even when it's hard. I train my mind regardless of mood. I honor my word whether it's easy or not. Principles are anchors in the storm. Without them, you drift from one trend, opinion, or emotion to the next. How to reclaim purpose and principle? Let's get tactical. 1. Define your core virtues. Stoics valued 4 cardinal virtues. Wisdom, seeing clearly, acting justly. Courage, doing what's right, even under pressure. Temperance, self-control. Balance, justice, fairness, integrity, duty to others. Ask yourself, what do I want to embody daily? What would I do if no one ever found out? Write your answers down. That's your code. 2. Write a personal mission statement. This isn't corporate fluff, it's your compass. Example: I exist to seek wisdom, act with courage, and serve others while mastering myself. Make yours short, memorable, real. Then look at it every morning. 3. Track your time, ruthlessly. Nothing reveals your purpose like your calendar. Ask, is how I spend my time aligned with who I want to become? Am I building or escaping? Start cutting what doesn't move you forward, ruthlessly. 4. Choose a daily standard. A Stoic doesn't wait for clarity. He builds it through discipline. Pick a daily standard to uphold. I rise before the sun. I speak with honesty always. I don't complain. I finish what I start. Make it so strong that even if everything else fails, you know you honored your code. 5. Practice memento mori. Remember, you are mortal. You don't have forever. Meditate on death, not to be morbid, but to be motivated. Ask yourself daily, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I lived? What truth am I avoiding? What meaningful thing am I postponing? This isn't a game. This is your life. Every day spent drifting is a day you can't get back. Final reflection. You can have all the success, followers, fame, or money, but if you have no core, you'll fall to pieces when life tests you. And life will test you. Storms will come, loss will come, discomfort is guaranteed. But if you live by purpose and principle, you don't just survive, you transcend. The Stoics weren't invincible. They were anchored. They knew who they were. They knew what they stood for. And they lived accordingly. So don't waste this short, sacred life. Define your values. Live by your code. Let death remind you to act with urgency. And become unshakable by choosing purpose over pleasure and principles over emotion. That's the Stoic path. And now you know what's been holding you back. If any of those habits hit you hard, good. That means you're self-aware. And self-awareness is the first step to self-mastery. Now you know what's holding you back. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Let me know in the comments. Which habit are you removing first? If you found value in this, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to a higher standard of living. We're building something different here. And remember, you are not here to be comfortable. You are here to be disciplined, to be unshakable, to be free. Memento mori. Live with virtue.